Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. We're virtual, 612-315-6778 if you have questions or comments. We do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. These are bizarre days, people. Okay? We try not to be disparate. Yes, we're doing newspaper exegesis, no doubt about it. Some of it's historical. We try to do patterns research. So we're different. We're Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. And this one is my favorite because I've been doing this research for years. We hope that you'll like it too. Suleiman was alive from about 15, oh goodness, 15, I'll see the years in a minute here. Anyway, this was the 1539, 1540 time that we want to talk about when he was rebuilding the walls. We have new information. It's really cool to see this. You're going to love it because it really confirms what's going on in the historical patterns. And it's prophecy. So we have Daniel 2, we have Daniel 7, so we have the beasts in chapter 7, but we have this statue in chapter 2. So we'll start out with Babylon, and then Medo-Persia, then Greece, then Rome. Well, the problem is we see it again in Daniel 7, and we see basically the same thing. So then we know that Babylon was the lion with the eagle's wings ripped off. Well, that's kind of like Great Britain with the United States. And the bear, well, that's Medo-Persia, no doubt about it, but it's Russia also. Germany could be the leopard. There are many leopards out there in terms of symbols, but Germany is one of them. And they're like Greece, okay, and they move fast. And they've also caused 2 wars, and they're the type of people to cause World War III. So keep that in mind. Then Rome, well, I reverse everything and move forward. I go by 70 Common Era is the starting point, going to 560 when Justinian I, the last Roman, died and amidst plagues. Then there was the schism of the legs moving apart in 1053 technically, but 1050, another 490 years. And then you move forward 490 years and you get to 1540, and we're going to discuss Suleiman today because we have new evidence. And then the last one seems to be the 2030 time frame. That's the last 490. So we'll see if you agree with me. We do the philosophy of the end of days. We try not to twist the Bible. We look at history. We look at patterns. We try to give you something interesting that you can say this verifies that the Bible is real. So this is new from Tim Foster. Tim has been dialoguing with me for years. He's kind of a rapture guy. I'm not, you know that. And so Gabriel said, know therefore and understand. So he's saying the Babylonians were prophesied to destroy Jerusalem in 586 before the Common Era. And that also the second time was 70 AD. But Tim's point is that it seems like this is a prophecy for then and a prophecy for now, and it seems like it's very interesting. So he's saying, in the name of Allah, the merciful and compassionate, our Lord and great Sultan, King of the Turks, the Arabs and Persians, Suleiman ben Selim Khan, ordered that the blessed wall be built. May Allah will perpetuate this reign, year 945. Well, that's 1539, people. And it's going to be on a plaque. You're going to see that next. So basically, this is prophecy fulfilled once, prophecy fulfilled twice. And Nehemiah was part of the first one, Ezra and Nehemiah from that time frame. But it's the same verbiage from Daniel. So this is very interesting. So here's what's really, really new that Tim found. I like this. So this is the walls of Jerusalem. This is the Jaffa Gate. And in the name of Allah, the merciful and compassionate, our Lord, the great Sultan, King of the Turks, the Arabs and the Persians, Suleiman ben Selim Khan, ordered that the blessed wall be built. May Allah will perpetuate his reign, year 945. So once again, there's the 945 is equivalent to 1539, and if you add 483 years, you get to 2022. Very interesting. So that's one pattern. I'll show you another one later on. It's going to come late, so you'll have to stick through the whole video. People tend to leave when I read verses. I'm sorry. But this will be interesting. You'll love it. So Daniel 9:25 is the prophecy, and we'll read this twice today. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem until the Mashiach, the prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, 483 years. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. So let's look at this. Let's evaluate it. And so once again, this is from an Islamic calendar, and they give you, the 29 and 30-day lunar months. They keep the same months that a Jew would, an Orthodox Jew would. And you can see, there it is, 1539. So it matches up with the year 945. Very interesting, okay? Thank you, Tim, for finding that. So I want to show you one other interesting thing. that on the Jerusalem walls, they found this recently, the name of God, Yud, He, Vav, He, in the wall itself growing. And so it's just a recent phenomenon. So we're going to be talking about Suleiman. We're going to be talking about lions. We're going to have a good time because the walls tell a story. And you already saw that Suleiman built those walls, and we'll show you the prophecy. So first we're going to start with another prophecy so you can compare and contrast and see that there's many patterns going on. The first one is Judah ben Samuel. He was alive from 1140 to 1217. He lived in Speyer, Germany, and he had the prophecy of the last Jubilees. He started prophesying in 1217 when he was 77 years of age, which is very interesting, to 1517 when it started off, to the 1917, 1967, and 2017. So let's see what he said. According to his pupils, Rabbi Judah ben Solomon, the Pious, was a model. He was a wonderful guy. Abstinence of selflessness. He was just great. And he really was expecting the Messiah and trying to figure out when he would arrive. So according to him, the prophet Eliyahu, who will precede the Messiah, appeared to me and revealed many things to me and emphasized that the precondition for answered prayer is that it is fueled by enthusiasm and joy for the greatness and holiness of God. That works. Okay, so there's this prophecy again, and it shows the patterns. And then when the Ottoman Turks, who are already a power to be reckoned with on the Bosphorus, those are the straits up near Turkey, okay, at the time of Judah ben Samuel, conquered Jerusalem in 1517. They will rule over Jerusalem for 8 Jubilees till 1917. Afterwards, Jerusalem will become a no man's land for 1 Jubilee until 1967. Then in the 9th Jubilee, 2017, it will once again come back into the possession of the Jewish nation, which would signify the beginning of the Messianic end time. Nothing happened in 2017. But it's supposed to occur. Now, what happened in 1517? Just so we can show you this, that was a big year. We have Martin Luther, who nailed his theses on the wall there. He also wrote some nasty stuff later on about Jews. They helped him translate the Bible into German, and then they turned around and wanted to kill him and burn him out. There you go. So, and you can see down below that Kristallnacht was celebrating his birthday. That's his birthday, obviously, which is November 10th. So keep that in mind. Okay, and that's his treatise that he wrote. So Selim I was the first caliph, and he took over and then dominated, walked into Jerusalem in 1517. So he was the king at that point in time of the Ottoman Empire. Then his son was Solomon, basically, the Magnificent. And he lived, there you go, it's from 1494 to 1520, then on to 1566. So he took over power in 1520. He was the lawgiver for 46 years. There's his father, the grim one, ruled from 1512 to 1520. He conquered, became the first Ottoman Sultan to take the title of Caliph, and he did conquer Jerusalem in a very peaceful way. Okay, so let's talk about Suleiman now. So over 15 years after his accession, Suleiman records that he was troubled by a series of dreams. In those dreams, he was being chased by lions who seemed intent on devouring him. In one dream, he finally stopped running and faced the lions, asked what he should do to save his life. He was told he should build the wall of Jerusalem. His friends told him to ask the lions, but he was supposed to build the wall of Jerusalem. Wondering about this, he asked the only deity he knew, the Muslim Allah, for guidance, and the response came in a dream which was recorded as follows. So there's the lions, and there's the dream. The prophet appeared to him in a blessed night and told him, O Suleiman, you will have the rulership for 46 years and will make many conquests. And at that point in time, later on, in 1535-ish, he was up in Austria dominating. So he made many conquests. He almost took over Europe. Your offspring will not die out until the end of time. My kindness will always extend to you. You should spend these spoils on embellishing Mecca and Medina, and for the fortification of the citadel of Jerusalem in order to repulse the unbelievers when they attempt to take possession of Jerusalem during the reign of your followers. So the reign. So God already knew about, and who knows how this dream was given to him. It's accurate, though, that the conquerors would come in And so these would be the conquests, and try to kick the Muslims out. So he was supposed to do this for a reason and plant a cemetery there too. So you should also embellish its sanctuary with water basins, that's critical, and offer annual money gifts to the dervishes there, and also embellish the Rock of Allah and rebuild Jerusalem. Such being the order of the Prophet, Suleiman Khan rose at once from his sleep and sent from his spoils 1,000 purses to Medina and another 1,000 purses to Jerusalem. And this is from Alden Hillenbrand from the year 2000, page 353. So the prophecy goes this way. Notice that the terms of the arrangement were that Jerusalem was to be rebuilt along with the wall or fortifications, and that the water dispensers or basins or fountains were to be provided. The wall that Suleiman built is the wall which currently surrounds Old Jerusalem, and the Lion's Gate commemorates the lions in his dream. If Daniel 9:25 prophesies rebuilding Jerusalem's walls in Nehemiah's time, which is from Nehemiah 6:15, it testifies to the first coming of Messiah and was standing when Jesus rode his donkey in fulfillment of Zechariah 9:9. Then perhaps Suleiman's rebuilding of the wall might announce a similar prophetic plan relating to Messiah's second coming. Here's what I've been able to ascertain. Without the 1539-1540 tetrad sequence. So that would be eclipses of the moon, but these are not blood moons, okay? And so really the last 8 tetrads in 2,000 years appears to be happenstance. I mean, some of the things match up very, very well. 1493, 1494, 1967, 68, why am I blanking? 1949, 1950. Those make sense, but a lot of them don't make sense. This 1539, 1540 tetrad makes sense. So my research gives order to the tetrad phenomenon. My hint is that Daniel, the prophet, mentions the rebuilding of the streets and a wall, forever linking Nehemiah and Suleiman's troops from 1539, 1540 with significance. The building period for the wall is generally given as being from 1535 until the end of 1541, and maybe the beginning of 1542, a total of 7 years probably. It seems that the 4 fountains or water dispensers or basins were built first. Water is usually done first, so the workers could be refreshed, and also for mikvahs for people. The Jews used it too. They were there blessing him as he was doing this because they knew this was prophecy. And I'll show you the verses in a second. So here's the dates. It sounds like they started maybe 1535, 1536 with fountains, and then they worked on the North Wall in 1537, the Jaffa Gate, Damascus Gate, the Lion's Gate, 1538, 1539. Then he sealed it with that plaque that you saw just a few minutes ago. So then the construction ended probably 1542, probably about 7 years of work. Okay, so here's the rare astronomical tetrad from 1539, 1540. It's 4 lunar eclipses on the Jewish feast days as Suleiman the Magnificent sends men to rebuild Jerusalem's walls. He never officially visited this that we know of, at least not at that time. But he did send men there. Okay, so why? Suleiman was winning battles in Hungary, where there was food and water. His troops abruptly left for Jerusalem, where there was no food or water, to seal the eastern gate exactly at that time frame. It had to be sealed 490 years before whatever occurs. Okay, and I'm not predicting, an end date of the 7 years. I'm just saying that seems to be the moniker. Okay, so 490 is 70 times 7, and that really ends at 2030. This sets off the final 490-year judgment countdown to, say, 2030, and that is Ezekiel 39:7, which is the last 7 years. So, did Columbus find a home for the Jews? This is one of the tetrads. This is 1493, 1494. Those were eclipses on Passover, Sukkot, Passover, Sukkot. Okay, and it shows the whole pattern, and I can't remember the name of the guy that did this work years ago. Paul Grivas, I think it is, Greek fellow. It's nice to have the report, though. It's nice to have that. Okay, so that was Columbus. But then after that, so we'll just have a little bit of fun with numbers. So this is from Josh Ilsum, and Josh is no longer doing this. He did this great research back in 2008, 2009 when Mark Biltz got started, but then he kind of stopped doing it. I think it's too risky when you're being predictive But anyway, so he said August 25th, 1539, the rebuilding of the wall, plus 62 weeks of years, takes you exactly to June 7th, 1967, which is the capture of Jerusalem. And then you take that date, Jerusalem becomes the capital of Israel for the first time in 1900 years, plus 7 weeks. That comes to September 28th, 2015. Well, nothing happened on that day, other than the next blood moon eclipse set. Overlapping or intersecting Jubilees and 490s. Yep. Okay, so more from Josh Elsom. So on August 20th, 1539, Sultan Suleiman of Turkey had ordered that the rebuilding of the east gate of Jerusalem, called the Lion's Gate, it was finished in 1540, counting ahead 69 prophetic years. From August 20th, 1539, this number is 69. From Daniel 9, 23 through 26, the prophetic weeks of the year gives us, 69 times 7 times 360, which is 173,880 days. That's generally considered that time frame by many scholars, landing exactly on June 7th. So you can do the math yourself and see it down below there. He lists off things from 1538, 1539, these eclipses, and you can pause it anytime you want to and verify the numbers and go back and look at it yourself for eclipses. These were not blood moon eclipses. These were eclipses. Okay, there's the eastern gate, and it had to be sealed. There are graves in front of it, and so Josh considered that if there were eclipses marking the feast days of 2014, 2015, then there may be something going on in 1539. And there were 4 solar and 5 lunar eclipses occurring over those years, especially 1539, 1540. 4 of these eclipses, I believe, according to Josh, are very significant. So there's April 3rd, 1539, that's Passover. September 27th, 1539 is Sukkot. 1540 is March 22nd. And then 1540 for Sukkot is September 16th, and matches. There it is. Okay, so that was the time that Suleiman was working. It's kind of a quiet time, but it's a critical time because this sets up prophecy. Now, another source that verifies this is James Fleming. So Fleming is in the middle there. He's a PhD, and he happened to be in Israel in 1967 under a blood moon eclipse. And what did he do? He fell into a grave during a rainstorm. And when he looked up, he was by the Eastern Gate. He looked up and he saw the original Eastern Gate that Yeshua walked through. So when you look at the gate that we just looked at, this is underneath it. They just built right over the top of it. So it's still there. And there's bones, so obviously a Messiah couldn't walk through that. He would become, we call it tamei in Hebrew, and he has to be tahor. He has to be ritually pure to be able to do his duties. So he would have to walk some other way somehow. I don't know. But anyway, the main thing is Fleming came up with this. This is amazing. That's his picture. Okay, so now, what's the prophecy? The gate must be shut only for the prince. Only the prince may enter. So this is from Ezekiel 44, 1 through 4, and all the rabbis would know this. Then he brought me back by way of the outer gate of the sanctuary, the one facing the east, and it was shut. Adonai said to me, this gate will remain shut. It will not be opened, and no one will go through it, because Adonai, the God of Israel, has gone through it. That is interesting. Adonai, the God of Israel, has gone through it. Think about that for a moment. Therefore, it is to be kept shut. Only the prince, since he is the prince, is to sit there and eat his meal before Adonai. He is to enter through the vestibule of the gate and leave the same way. Then he brought me through the north gate to the front of the house, and I looked and saw Adonai's glory filling the house of Adonai and fell on my face. So that's Ezekiel 44. Those are the end times, people. Now we're going to start working on Daniel's visions. So we're going to spend some time on those verses, try to reconcile it. So we're going to go through Daniel 9, the last half. Yes, while I was speaking in prayer, the man, Gabriel, so the angel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, swooped down on me in full flight at about the time of the evening sacrifice. So that would be, well, I would assume that since he's not in Jerusalem, that would be Shacharit. That'd be in the evening, yeah. And so, or Ma'ariv, rather. So I don't know. I don't know if it would be Shacharit or Minka. No, Shacharit is the morning. Minka is the afternoon. I don't know if they had 3 when they were in out of Jerusalem. I don't know. All right. Well, anyway, explain these things to me. He said, I have come now, Daniel, to enable you to understand this vision clearly. At the beginning of your prayers, an answer was given, and I've come to say what it is, because you are greatly loved. You are greatly loved. Therefore, look into this answer and understand the visions. From Daniel 9 again, 21 through 23. 70 weeks have been decreed for your people and for your holy city, for putting an end to the transgression, that's pasha, which would be rebellious sins, and for making the end of sin, general ritual impurities, which is chata or chatat, for forgiving iniquity, that's avon, so it's all three right there. That is a willful sin, avon, for bringing the everlasting justice, for setting the seal on vision and prophet, and for anointing the especially holy place. Just so you're aware of this, in Christianity, people don't understand the difference between intentional sins and unintentional. Chata would be unintentional. Transgression, pasha, and iniquity, avon, would be intentional sins. There's a huge difference between those in Judaism. Christians don't quite see that. And so we'll talk about it during another video. Okay, continuing on, Daniel 9:25. Know, therefore, and discern that 7 weeks of years will elapse between the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the anointed prince comes. It will remain built for 62 weeks of years and with open spaces and moats, but these will be troublous times. So I want you to see that when we see it the first time, in Ezra and Nehemiah's time, there are the 7 consecutive prophetic years, then the 49 years, then the 434, and then it ends up with the 483. So they're calculating it through, what oh goodness. So what am I trying to get at? 7 times 7 is 49, and then 62 would make it 434, and then the 69 weeks would be 483. Okay. So now, continuing on, the 7 weeks, 49 years that precede the 62 weeks, the 434, is undoubtedly the time period it took for Ezra and Nehemiah and the others to rebuild the city. Josephus and other scholars record the 49-year rebuilding process. The Passover, 446 BCE, is the only decree issued for both the rebuilding of Jerusalem, the city, and the wall. The 49-year period would have concluded around 397 BCE, with it beginning around 446. That should be the time frame. I'm saying the second decree of Artaxerxes. Okay, continuing back into Daniel. Then after 62 weeks, Mashiach will be cut off, karat, which is interesting, literally cut off, and have nothing. The people of the prince yet to come, that's Rome, Roman Catholic Church too, will destroy the city and the sanctuary, but his end will come with a flood, and desolations are decreed until the war is over, Daniel 9:26. Then the final verse, he will make a strong, he will increase the covenant. He will give or strengthen the covenant with leaders, and these are strong leaders, powerful leaders, Ravim, for 1 week of years. Half of the week he will put a stop to the sacrifice and the grain offering, and in the wing of detestable things the desolator will come and continue until the already decreed destruction is poured out on the desolator. That would be the Antichrist. Okay, so what Isaac Newton has said about this is the Antichrist will retain some part of his dominion over the nations until about the year 2016. Well, he missed that. And he was a brilliant man, maybe the smartest ever. And when the 1260 years are expired, so he's not going with days, he's going with years, okay? And that's the problem with the day-year theory. It doesn't always work. It doesn't work at all, hardly, okay? Okay, so this is Artaxerxes. The second edict, I'm saying in 446, and then this kind of, you could pause it here and kind of dig through this if you want to, but it kind of shows some of these possibilities for years and what it looks like, and it's just an important slide to stop and pause if you'd like to know more. Okay, so where are we on the time frame? We're in the birth pangs. We are not in the tribulation or the Great Tribulation. Suleiman did rebuild Jerusalem as he was supposed to. You can say he was ordered by Allah. Doesn't matter. God uses anyone to get his goals accomplished. So we are trying to keep our garments clean and study the signs that are going on right now because we're getting ready for a wedding. And it seems to be that the patterns are there. You just saw another pattern just now in terms of that. Literally, the wall tells you the date. And then as you go forward, 490 years and boom, you're coming up to 2030 people. Very interesting. So, be blessed. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll get ready for another video.